Hello and welcome to Health Professional Radio. My name is Patrick Reyes, and on today's show we have Dr. Samantha Oakes. She has a PhD in medical science. She also received the Garvan Institute of Medical Research Thesis Prize on her work on understanding the role of prolactin receptor, and she also leads a small team focused on cell survival in the larger cancer biology laboratory headed by Professor Christopher Ormandy. Welcome to this show, Samantha.
Oh, thank you very much, Patrick, for having me on the show.
Our pleasure. Now, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so you gave me a lovely introduction before, but my name is Samantha Oakes, and I run a small lab at the Garvan Institute of Medical Research in Kinghorn Cancer Centre, where I am focused on understanding the ways in which particularly breast cancer cells learn how to survive and invade throughout the rest of the body to contribute to metastasis. And more importantly, I'm trying to work out ways in which we can overcome chemoresistance, which is, of course, the problem with any treatment for cancer. For breast cancer, it's a wonderful news story. You know, over the last 30 years, we've been able to cut deaths by 30%. But unfortunately, still approximately 3 in 10 women who are given therapy for breast cancer will ultimately develop resistance to their therapy and will die from their disease. So the focus of my work is to try and work out new types of treatments that can overcome this sort of chemotherapeutic resistance.
And what inspired you to pursue cancer research?
Look, I've had, as everyone is, impacted by someone who's either been diagnosed or themselves been diagnosed with cancer. When I was 9 years old, my auntie was diagnosed with a very, very aggressive form of breast cancer. And because that was going back, and now I'll reveal my age, of course, approximately 35 years ago, she really didn't understand what it was. And when she presented to the clinic, she actually had a disease that was emerging through her skin. It had spread locally. It had spread to the rest of the body. And really, she had no chance of survival. And she died a pretty horrible death. And I pretty much, from that point on, I never wanted to see anyone, my family member, friend, or anyone else that's on this earth should have to suffer the burden of this type of disease.
Right. And so actually I believe another topic we're going to be talking about is DreamLab, which from my understanding is a free app that can help solve cancer while you actually sleep. What exactly is DreamLab and how did it come about?
Look, DreamLab is extremely exciting, and I've been involved in communicating the brilliance of this application since we launched it in November in 2015. DreamLab is a collaboration between the Vodafone Foundation, which funds programs into health and well-being, and the Garvan Institute of Medical Research. And it was the brainchild of the head of the Garvan Foundation, Alyssa Jones, who thought, we've got these amazing, powerful pieces of technology that are in our back pockets. Everyone has a brand new mobile phone, and they're essentially little computers. They have this incredible power. And she thought, well, what happens if we harness that power of everyone's phones that we don't use all the time? Of course, we plug them in to the charger overnight, and they're not used. So what if we could harness the power of that CPU inside of everyone's phone? And that's what DreamLab is all about. DreamLab is simply an application that any Android user can download on their mobile phone. And what it does is it links everyone who's currently using the DreamLab app, it links those little mobile phones up, all those tiny little computers, to create one large supercomputer that gives Garvan Institute of Medical Research dedicated free access to this brand new computing technology to really help us solve the riddles of cancer research much faster. In fact, since we launched in November in 2015, approximately 63,000 users have taken up the app and actually started using it. And that's helped us solve our first major research project 9 months faster than we would have ordinarily solved that using our current technology at the Garvan Institute of Medical Research. So it's like having a brand new supercomputer at our fingertips. It's wonderful. And it's free. Everyone can have it on their phone if they've got an Android phone. And all they have to do is plug it in and turn on the app, and that helps us solve the riddles of cancer research much faster.
And this isn't just for people that live in Australia, correct?
No. Anyone who has an Android phone can download the application on their phone and help us solve the riddles of cancer much faster. And it's a tangible way you can help without actually donating money. The app is free, and all we're using is tiny little bits of pieces of data and using the CPU power. So it actually doesn't cost you a lot of data download. In fact, we're just using the CPU power of the phone, and anyone can do it. It's a tangible way that you can help us solve the riddles of cancer.
Wow, that's really some exciting news. But well, what are some of the best features about DreamLab?
Well, the first thing that you should know is that what we're trying to do, and out to your audience, is to understand the sort of the questions that we're trying to solve. Since the year 2000, when genomic technology came into being and enabled us to see right deep inside of cancer cells, what we've learned is that everybody's cancer is actually a little bit different from the next person's cancer. And in fact, one cancer could look like something from a breast, but also look like something from the prostate. So in fact, we shouldn't be thinking about treating cancer as if it's coming from an organ. What we need to do is really understand the details of an individual patient's cancer and personalize patient treatment for that tumor. And so because we're dealing with 3 billion bases in DNA, we don't know which particular changes in that genomic sequence contributes to chemoresistance. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to look across breast, prostate, pancreas, and ovarian. And we're asking the question, what changes in amongst all of those cancers contributes to resistance to a particular type of therapy? And that will inform us on how we can then obviously personalize that patient's treatment.
Obviously, cancer research has changed over the years. Usually from what I see on TV or documentaries is that you have a lab rat that's usually tested. Do you use lab rats at DreamLab for the genetic information, or? No,
so all we're doing is we're using the genomic sequencing data that is starting to build up throughout, worldwide, in fact. And at the Kinghorn Cancer Centre, we're currently sequencing many patient genomes that are coming in with tumours. And what we're doing, the changes that we're seeing is that we actually don't have to do a lot in the lab. What we're learning is that we have incredible health records, particularly in Australia. We compare those details about that patient, for example, to their genomic sequence, all unidentified, of course, and only those patients that are contributing to research. And we're learning about what changes in their genome actually contribute to therapeutic resistance. And so, in fact, some of this research has gone from being in the lab to being what we call in silico, where we've got fantastic mathematicians and bioinformaticians that sit on computers and trying to crunch the numbers about what, in fact, is changing between one cancer to the next and how we can really personalize patient treatment.
Has there been any misconceptions that you've heard about in regards to DreamLab?
I think the first question people like to ask is, well, it's going to cost me a fortune in data. And the first thing that I can say to them is it doesn't. As soon as you download the free DreamLab app, if you're a Vodafone customer, it's actually free rated, so it won't cost you a cent. All you have to do is plug it in and power it overnight, and it will just do its thing and help us solve the riddles of cancer. But if you're with any other telco, it doesn't really matter. You can set the download limit of that application. And in fact, most users will only use the application when it's plugged in overnight and on their own Wi-Fi. And they can use as little as 50 meg to 500 meg of data on their mobile. And I can guarantee you most people have that spare every month on their home Wi-Fi. And all we're doing, because we have to actually send a tiny little bit of the research puzzle to the individual's phone. We allow the phone to crunch the numbers, and then that little information gets sent back to the Gov, and so we can compile it and really understand the details about how we can solve cancer research.
Wow. So where can people download and learn more about DreamLab?
Get on Google Play. All they need to do is find DreamLab, type in DreamLab on Google Play. If they've got an Android phone, read all about the application on Google Play and download it. It is the most tangible thing you can do to help us solve cancer research. Get it on your phone, go to sleep at night, plug your phone in at the wall, and let us solve the riddles of cancer while you are helping us with your power of your mobile phone to do it much faster.
All right. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you today, Samantha.
Oh, thank you very much, Patrick. It's wonderful, and all I can finish with is please, everyone get on board. If we get our target of 100,000 users, we can actually slash 3 years of our research time. So please get on board and help us really enable us to really personalize patient treatment in cancer.
All right, you've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Patrick Reyes, and we've been in studio with Dr. Samantha Oakes, who has been heavily involved with the development of DreamLab, a way for you to help with cancer research by downloading the app onto your smartphone. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at healthprofessionalradio.com.au and also at hpr.fm, and you can subscribe to this podcast on iTunes.